Welcome back, guys. Today we'll be creating forms in HTML. Forms. And the goal is just to learn how to collect information from people using a form. And what do I mean by a form? A form is like your magic box where users type answers and send them to a website. Okay, this is what a form looks like. This, I'm sure you've seen it severally. And it's used for sign-up pages, for login pages. It's used to send feedback and for polls. You also use it for quizzes. I'm sure you've seen this severally, even in your Link School app where you answer questions and where you take quizzes. You have seen a form before. Okay, this is what it looks like. Now, let's explore a real form. Now, this is what the basic form structure looks like, where you have the form tag, and then just like how you have your table tag, which you do the opening and the closing, and then every other thing concerning the table goes inside. That's the same way you do for the form. You have to start up with your form tag, okay, the form and then the closing. Then in between is where every content concerning your form goes inside. Now the form tag tells the browser that, hey, this is a form. We're trying to create a form. Okay, and the action attribute is an attribute called action that comes with a form. And this is where the form data goes into. When you click on submit, the form's data goes into the file linked to the action attribute. But that's for advanced classes, okay? So today we'll just be creating a simple form structure. And now we'll be exploring the form elements, all the elements you see inside the form, just like how you create a table and you have the table row TR, you have the TD, okay, you also have the TH. Now we're seeing the elements for the form. And the first one is the input tag. Okay, the input tag in HTML is used to collect data from users in a form. The input tag is actually where you type in what you want to type in. You want to type in your name, you want to type in your number. The input tag does the job for you. And just so we don't talk too much, I will be going to the VS Code where I will show you what I mean by input. Now for this class, I will be creating a new file. Just so we start on a fresh page, and I'll name it form.html. Good. And now inside here, this is where I'll create my form structure. Okay. And then in the body, I will be adding the form tag. I already told you this. And it has what? Action. It comes with the action attributes. Then in between the form, which is in between the opening and the closing tag, I will write the first structure I want you to know, which is the input tag. This is the input tag, and I will show you right now what the input tag. First of all, I will get rid of this so you see what it looks like just the moment I wrote form. I'm going live. I want to view it using our live server, and this is it. It's an empty page because there's no content inside yet. Now let me uncomment the inputs that I commented before. Let me get, yes, this is it now. I have an input inside. Now let's see what the input looks like. This is an input. This is where you type in data, and just by saying input, automatically it gives you this box here. Okay, that's what the input tag does. Let's go back to our slide. So the next thing we'll be looking at is the text field. Okay, how do you know a text field? It has the type of text, just like how this one came by default. You can see here that the inputs we wrote by default came by type equal to text. Now let me create another input and show you what I mean. When you say input and click on enter, it comes with a type equal to text, and it's now in your place to edit it into the type you want it to be. Now when you say type of text, what does it mean? It means that what you are typing into this input is text, okay? You can type in text, you can type in numbers into that input. It allows that. Now the next thing we will check out is the email field. Now in place of text, as a type, you can use email. Just like how we had a type equal to text, you can also have something like this, type equal to email. Let me show you. Let me create another input. And the type, I will make it email. Now, what does it mean? It means that what we are doing here has to... Now, can you see that when I clicked on this, it was showing me texts. But now that I clicked on this, it is strictly showing me emails I can sign up to. Okay? Now, it's supposed to look like an email because it's an email input. You can now do the normal email you have at gmail.com. Okay, and this will work out fine. Since you have set it to email, there is no way you can be allowed to submit it without you completing it in the form of an email. So the next thing I will be checking out is the password field. This is the field that helps you. Now this is what it looks like. It forms it in the form of a password. Well, now when you are typing out things, it looks like a password. Okay, let me show you what I mean. So instead of the type of text or type of email, you can say input and the type will be what? Password. The type will be password, and can you see how it's already appearing? It comes by default. This, I am creating my password here. Can you see it's already giving me dots, and when I click on the I, it shows me the preview, which is the password that I typed. It's amazing, right? That is what the type of password does for you. This here is for email. This here is for text. This one is for password. Let's check out the type. Another field we have. Then you also have the number field, and it allows you to input numbers. Let's check it out as well. So right here, I'll say inputs, and the type will be number. Now let's go back and see. Let's go. Now it has given me this because I changed the type to be a number. Now I can click here or increase it right here to the number I want. Okay, good. Now the next thing I want us to look at is the radio button. How does it look like? Have you ever come across a form where you are asked to tick if you are a female or male, or where you are asked to select your hobbies, but then it comes in this form, right? It comes in this circular form where you have the opportunity to just tick on it, click on it, and it changes the color here to show that this is your answer, right? Good. So now let me show you how you do that. Same inputs. Inputs, instead of password or type or email, it becomes what? A radio. That is the type. And this is what it looks like here, where you have the opportunity to click on it and you are good to go. So the next thing we have is to understand that radio buttons need to share the same name. Okay, now let me show you what I mean. I'll be creating 2 radio buttons, and I'm meant to select one if I am male or if I am female. Okay, let me go back to my VS Code. I'll add a break here so that it will happen on a fresh line. You know how to break a line, right? I taught you that using the BR. Now I am adding this, and I want to add something else. Another one, another radio that will be for female. Good. Let's check this out and see what it looks like. Now look at how it's looking right now. Now I want to either select if I am male or female. Now I want to select the female. Done. I'm not supposed to be able to select 2 genders. I'm talking about a situation like this where you are meant to just select one, right? You are not meant to be able to select 2. And that is where the name comes in. So when you are creating a radio button, radio inputs, you need to give it a name, and it should be the same name, because the same name cannot be selected twice. That is the only way you can be able to just select one or another. But as it stands now, just making it an input of radio makes you limited to this, which is not being able to actually select the one you want. Okay? Now, how do you do that? You give the input a type of radio normally, and then you give it a name, and the name should be the same. Like you can see here, this male has a name of gender, while the female also has the same name, which is gender. Let's try it out and see if this works. Now in here, in the male, I will say name, the name attributes, and I will give it gender. You can give it any name you want as long as they are the same. I will say this one again, gender. Good. Let's see. Now I want to select female. Let's see if I am allowed. Can you see I cannot select 2 now? Either I want male or I want female. Good. This is how it works when you give it the same name. The next thing is checkbox. It's an input type. Can you see this here? This image that says read only, where you do the checkbox. Let me show you what the checkbox looks like. The other input type that we are looking at right now is the checkbox type. Good. And this is where it comes looking like a square. And you can now check. Let's say you have a list of hobbies, you can check and check and check. So that's good. There's something else called select. Okay, this gives you the opportunity to create a drop down, and this select comes with option, a tag inside of it called option, where you now list what you want. Let's go back and do something like this. Let's create the select, and inside it we have the option, pizza, another option, and it should be orange. Okay, now let's see what this looks like. Can you see it has formed a drop down for us that you can easily select from? This is amazing, right? That's good. Well, we'll go on to the next thing we have on our list, adding a label to describe each field. Now, if you want to create an input and you want people to know that what you want them to write here is their first name or their last name, middle name, or you want them to write their email, there's something called a label. A label allows you, give it a title, like this is what I want you to do here, okay? Now, how do you write it? You use the label tag and then write whatever you want to write right inside. And label helps users to know what to type. Now, let's go and try it out. Let's create a label and we'll say first name. And then what follows after a label should be the input that you want them to type in something, and then making it the text input since it's the name you want them to type. So the input should actually be a text. Let's see what it looks like. Now this is what it looks like. So it doesn't confuse you because it comes as an inline. I will just comment the other ones I have explained out. We have seen this one, so let's just have one fresh start, and this is it. This is what it looks like for noun, okay? So that when they see this, when they see first name and then an input right next to it, they know that they are supposed to put in their name there, you know? They are meant to type in something here, definitely. And we will go back and do something else. The labels plus the inputs. Now, you need to use ID inside an input, and you should have 4. Can you see this term here? 4 inside the label. Okay, we use ID in input and 4 in the label to link them together. It's like saying, hey, label, you are talking about this exact input. So that when people just type in something randomly, because you might see a form that has a lot of inputs, right? So that someone cannot just go and type in what is meant to be for another place, you know, it links both of them together. So when you say you put for label and then use the same name that you use for inside the input as an ID, it links them. You are automatically making them one. Okay, both the label and the input now work together. Let me show you what I mean. You can see that my label is here and it has a 4 that is already empty. So now I'll give it a name. I'll give it F name, which means first name. You can give it whatever name you want as long as it is the same with the ID that you're going to be adding here now. The ID of first name. Now let's see what it means. It means that if I decide to click on just the name here, can you see my input just activated? It showed me, okay, you're meant to type something here. Okay, now I'm clicking outside. I want to show you how they are linked. I'll click on this name here and my input is telling me, okay, start typing in something. That is how it works. Okay, now we'll be going to the next thing, which is adding a submit button. Because after filling a form, you are meant to submit it, right? Good. Let's create a button that is meant to submit your form for you. So button, and the type will be submit. Okay, now we'll have something inside, and let's say it's submit. Because definitely they should know that when they click on it, it should submit the form. Now this is it. What it does, it submits the form. Let's say I type in something here and submit. What does it do? It refreshes it for me. And why? It is meant to take it to a data. That is what the action does. It's meant to take it somewhere, but that's an advanced class. But since there's no place that it is taking it to, what happens when you click on the submit? It refreshes the page for you because it did not see where to send it to. Now this is it. This is a different slide that explains what I am talking about here. What happens when you click on submit? Data is sent to the server or shown on the screen. Depends on the action. That is what it's meant to do normally. But since we haven't told it where to send the data to, just like a real website or a server, the browser just reloads the same page instead, as if saying, okay, I'll just try to send it in here, okay? Since we've not given it where to send that information to, it just reloads the page for you, okay? So that's good. And now we'll be talking about form validation. What is form validation? Form validation checks if the data you type into a form is correct before submitting it. And it is important because it helps avoid errors, it keeps your data clean, and it helps users fix mistakes before submitting. Because most of the time, we tend to forget to fill out certain parts of the form. Okay, but first of all, I will show you how you can validate a form, and a simple way you can validate your form. It is by using the required inputs. Now I will uncomment this because I need a lot of forms now. Let me see what it looks like for now. This is what it looks like, right? Now for you to be able to leave a form unfilled, you need to add this important field called required. What does it do? It doesn't let you submit a form if you have not filled out the places you put in required. Okay, required, just this way. You don't need to do much, just required. That means, my friend, you are meant to do this before you leave here. You are meant to do this one before you leave here. That's what it does for you. You add it in the inputs and not the label required. Good. Now let's see. And I try to submit. Can you see the pop-up? It says, please fill out this field. Let me try to fill it out. Now it's telling me that please include an @ in the email address. Can you see, for the fact that I made this email address to be a type of email, you cannot just go and write anything without making it look like a proper email or without putting a proper email. And every email comes with this @ whatever.com. You know how an email looks like, so you don't just go and type a word for it. It will tell you, please include @ in the email address. The word you wrote is missing an @ Okay, now let me submit again. It's still telling me this. Let me add an @ Okay, now I will try to submit, and it's still telling me that I should fill out this. Now these ones are the places I added required, which means a user is not allowed to submit it or else they fill out the required fields. So it's a very, very important thing to note. The next thing we'll be learning is placeholder. Placeholder helps you. Let me show you what it does. It just shows a text inside the input that tells the user what to type in. Let me use this input here, and I will say, just right beside this, I'll say placeholder. It's another attribute that the input has. Placeholder, I want you to type your name. Placeholder, type your name, and this is what you see when you add a placeholder. But then that doesn't mean that you can just submit your form like that. It is still empty. It is just like a watermark. It's just there inside the page. It doesn't send to the website. It's just there to remind you that, okay, you're meant to do something here. And as soon as you start typing something, it disappears. But if the input is empty, it shows you that you need to type in something, okay? That's what the placeholder does. Okay, good. Now the next thing is setting a minimum or maximum number. Now let's say you have the input type that is number. You can decide to set the minimum number that you add to be 1. or you can decide to set it to the maximum of 10. Now let's build a registration form. Let's build a registration form using the knowledge we already know. Okay, I will just comment this out. I'll comment this out and I'll start creating a new one from scratch. So the first thing I want to have is a label. Label. And I'll say I want you to write your first name here. And after the label, I am meant to have an input. And the input should be for text. Okay, and now, so I don't forget, I will be saying for first name, just to link my input and my label together. And I'll add an ID to the input and I'll say the same thing, first name. Let's see, it's already out. And let's see if it's functioning. It says, go back to my code. I'll add another one. And I want it to be a label of last name. Last name and an input of text as well. Then I will make this the last L name and the ID to be L name as well. Let's go back and see what it looks like. Now it's aligning on a straight line. I don't want that. I want it to break. I want it to just come down here. And I can do that several ways. Either I break it here. Let's see. Either I decide to break it here like this, or I can just decide to make it, put it inside a div. You know, I told you that the div comes already as a block element. So I can put everything inside a div so that it just aligns like that for me automatically. So now I have put it into a div and like I said, it has aligned that way. But that doesn't mean I don't still need my break. I need it because I want it to have a little bit of space and not cluster. Now this is good. I also want to have, let's say, phone number. I'll use a label of phone number. Okay, now the input tag will be for number, right? Because we are trying to put in a number. But then there is one thing about this. It will make it come out looking like this. Okay, good. It gives me what I want still. I like it. Let me still give it another break so they don't go close to each other like you can see. I'll add another break and another break. Okay, still aligning, but it's not aligning well because the phone number is longer than the last name and first name. So the phone number is pushing the input away from the text. Take a one break because it seems like it's giving it a whole lot of space. Let's see. I'll make use of this break and I might reduce the name to phone number. Let's see. Okay, I want it this way. And then the next thing I want to add is gender, the label for gender. And how do I add this? I'll create a label. Now since I'll be adding two, I just want it inside a label. And then in between my label, I will be adding, if I want to, I will be adding my input tag. And then my input has to be a radio, right? Good. And then, okay, here I will give it an ID of name. And I'll give it a name. I told you it has to have the same name. I'll give it a name of gender. Okay. And then here I will say male. I'll say male, and I will repeat the same process for my female. I'll repeat the same thing for the female, and I'll change here to female. Okay. Good. Let's see what it looks like at this point. Now it's forming like I want it to, but I'll have it inside a div so that it comes to the next line. Div. Then I'll paste it here. Let's see if it will come. Yes, it's out and it's on a fresh line like I want it to. And this is it. I will also add a break here. Now you can decide to style your form. First of all, I want to give my form a background color. I'll come down here and I'll say form. I'm doing the element selector. I'll say form. You are meant to start with the style tag. I'll say form and I will give it a background color of, let's say, purple. Let's see what it looks like. I have given my form a background color of purple and it's looking like this, taking up the whole width. Now let me reduce the width to what I want it to look like. I'll make the width, let's say 100 pixels. Let's see what it looks like. It's too small. I will increase it further. I'll make it 300. Let's see. Good enough, but not too good. But I think I will have to manage this. Let me just do the padding of the form. I told you padding happens inside the content, and I'll give it a padding of 30 pixels. Let's see. It's adding the padding like I want it to. Then I want my inputs, some of my inputs, not everything, because I want some of it to have a padding. Okay, so I will look for a class name for, let me start one and then give them a general class name. I'll give it a class name of inputs. Now I can go up here and still style it again. I'll say dot inputs and I'll give it a padding of 10 pixels. I will increase the width to, let's say, should I try 40 pixels? Let's see. Okay, it's too small. I'll give it a width of 100 pixels. Still small. I'll make it 200. Okay, portable at least. The padding, I want to reduce it to 5, I think, or 7. And then I will make it rounded. I want to give it a border radius. And I'll set it to border of none. Okay, now let's see if, yes, the border is off. That black thing is out of here. Now I want to give this a background color. That is, I want to give my input a background color. I will quickly do that. Go to the next line. I'll give it a background color of something like gray, but I think gray is too dark, so I'll have to use this and get to the point where I want it to be. I think I like this. Let me see what it looks like. Okay, now this is it. I think I'll be going with this. So for my input, I want it to have a margin left. I want my input to have a margin left of 10 pixels. Let's see. Okay, okay, this is good. So now, since I've gotten the input shape I want, I will just take out this class name. I'll just copy it and place it anywhere I want to have that form, anywhere I want to have that particular type of input. I told you can always reuse a class name. So I'll paste it here and I'll paste it here. These are the 3 ones I want to have that, and this is it. I like how it is. The next thing I want to do now is to add a little more break here so that my radio can actually have space. It's looking a little bit clustered, and this is it. The next thing to do is to add a label color. You can see my label is looking black and you can hardly see the text. You are finding it difficult to read out the text because the background color is purple and dark. So now I want my text to be, or my label, I want it to have the color of white. Good. Let's see what it looks like. Now my texts are white. I'll just increase the font size a little bit. I'll increase the font size to, let's say, 17. Good. Not bad. Not bad. Then next thing I want us to add is the button. We forgot to add a button. We are meant to submit this, right? Good. Now we'll add a button and it will be the type submit. And this here, it will say submit. Let's see what our button looks like right now. It's looking this way. Now I want to style it. I want it a little bit bigger. So I'll select that my button. I'll select my button and I will give it a padding of 10 pixels, and then I will give it a width of, let's say, 70. Let's see what this will look like. Okay, it's still small. I'll give it a width of 90. And I'll reduce my padding to 8 pixels. Let me see. Okay, let me make it curved. You know how you add curves, right? By using a border radius property. And I'll make it 20 pixels. Let's see what it will look like. Looking this way, too curved. I'll make it 10. I just want a little bit of curve. Okay, like this. And I'll be getting rid of the border as usual. I don't want a border. I'll give a border of none. You can do whatever you want to do with your own button. And since it's so close to my other text, I'll be giving a margin top of 10 pixels. Let's see if it's good enough. Okay, I think this is okay. And then let me just increase the margin first. Then make it 14. Then the next thing is, do not forget to add your required. Okay, so they don't submit an empty form. So in my input, I'll be adding the required attributes. I'll add the required. I will add another required here. Good. I will add another one here to your inputs. The next thing I want to add is the placeholder. It's not compulsory, but it's always nice to add a placeholder, and it's inside your inputs, not your label. Placeholder, and I'll say type your name. For this one, I think I want to add a placeholder here. Placeholder. I'll say type your phone type your phone number. Let's see what it's looking like at this point. Now it comes with the placeholder inside. You can do anything, and you cannot submit it without filling up the required inputs. So now that my form is here, I want to align it to be at least around here. How do I do that? Since I've given it a width already, I've given my form a width here, and I gave it a width of 30 pixels. Now I will give it a margin of auto. What this does is it now aligns it to the center according to the width you give it. Now my form is here, and I can also decide to give it a margin top just to come down a little bit. Margin top, and I'll say the margin top will be 40 pixels. Okay, came down a bit, came down by 40 pixels. So I like my form this way. I can also decide to give the entire form a border radius. You can decide to do that. So now I'll just say border radius of 20 pixels. And now it's curved. So I like it this way. You can do anything you want with your own form. Okay. Now, for your assignment, I want you to create your own contact form, and it must include your name, your email, and it needs to have a submit button, and I want you to add a header or title to it. Then add a favorite color to the background of your form. Okay, so you have to pause this video and take this out, either take a screenshot or you copy it out. This is the end of the class for us today. See you next time, guys. Bye-bye.